Hello everyone, this is Sir JP for another video discussions, and for today's discussion, I'm going to discuss the quantiles of group data. So, last time we discussed the ungroup data. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin kung paano ba kino-compute yung group data. So, computation of quantiles for group data is the same as the computation of the median. Some formulas are Q sub K is equals to lower boundary or L sub B plus K times N all over 4, which is the quartile, subtracted by cumulative frequency preceding to our quartile class, which is the CFP all over FQ or the frequency, times our class interval. Next, for our decile, we have D sub K is equals to L sub B plus K times N over 10 minus CFP all over FQ or the frequency multiplied to the class interval. Again, K times N, yung K natin is the position of the decile, LB is the lower boundary, and CFP is the cumulative frequency preceding to the class of decile na nakuha, and yung C is yung interval. And lastly, for our percentile, we have P sub K is equals to lower boundary or LB plus K times N all over 100 minus cumulative frequency preceding to our percentile class, which is the CFP all over frequency multiplied to our class interval. To further understand this topic, we have our example. Okay, now let's try to have an example in quantiles of group data. Now, yung pag-compute ng ating ungroup sa group ay magkaiba. So now we are going to find the quartile 1, decile 3, decile 9, percentile 10, and percentile 70 of this group data, itong table na to. So, first thing, sabi natin, in order for us to solve itong ating quartile of ungroup, so yung solution of letter A, we have quartile 1 or Q sub K, ayan, quartile 1 is equals to lower boundary, okay, and lower boundary plus yung ating K times N over 4, kasi nga quartile yung hinahanap, minus cumulative frequency preceding to our quartile class all over your frequency of the quartile class or FQ, and multiplied to our class interval. First thing na kailangan natin ma-identify kung asan ba yung tinatawag nating quartile class nung quartile 1. So, first, we have our K, which is 1 times N. Ilan ba yung ating total number of population or sample? Here, tingin po tayo sa ating total ng ating frequency, which is 50. Okay? So, we have 1 times 50 all over 4. Therefore, our K times N over 4 is 12.5. Ngayon, kailangan natin hanapin yung pang 12.5 na score given in this distribution. Okay? Now, let's say, etong first group na to or first class, ang sakop niyang score na magkasunod ay nasa kanya yung pang first at yung second. First and second nandito. Ayan. Diyan sa class na yan. So, kasi dalawa lang nakascore, unang dalawa. Therefore, ang susunod sa pangalawa ay yung pangatlo. So, andito yung pang third up to 7. Okay? 7. Andyan. Kasi nga, okay, meron dalawa. Ibig sabihin yung unang dalawa, sila yung first, second. May sumunod na 5. Third, fourth, fifth, 6th, and 7. Yun na yun. Third to 7. Susunod naman ay yung meron daw sa class na to naka 12. Therefore, ito ay 8. Okay? 8, to 19th. Ito, andito yung mga from 8 to 19th, andyan. So, ang hinahanap natin ay pang 12.5. So, if 8 to 19th etong part na to, therefore, andyan ba yung andito ba yung pang 12 na yon? Sakop ba? Okay. Ibig sabihin, andito yung ating quartile class. Okay, eto sa part na to, quartile class natin. So, therefore, ma-identify na natin yung ating lower boundaries. Okay, lower boundaries ng class na to. Okay, ito po yung quartile 1 class, Q1. Kasi andyan yung pang 12. Ngayon, lower boundary dito, ibig sabihin yung 66.5. Meron na tayong 66.5 plus yung ating 12.5 from here, 12.5 minus cumulative frequency preceding to our quartile class or before our quartile class. Kung ito yung ating quartile class, itong 19, yung sakop niya, alin ba dyan yung nagpe-precede or bago sa class na yan, yung cumulative frequency? That is 7. Okay? Bago kasi, hindi pwede yung 19 kasi sakop siya ni quartile 1 plus. Alin yung hindi niya sakop? Ito, yung bago sa kanya ay yung 7. Therefore, ito yung ating CFB or CFP, cumulative frequency preceding to our quartile class. So, nakuha na yung 7. Therefore, ano ba yung frequency ng quartile class natin? Ito, yung 12. So, we have 12. And the class interval is, yung range dito, you have 3, which is from 61, 62, 63. Merong tatlo. Okay? 67, 68, 69. Tatlo. Therefore, 3. So, let's compute 66.5 plus, okay, plus 12.5 minus 7, okay, divide it by 12 times, divided by 12 times 3. Sige, times 3. Ayan. Therefore, 1 point, okay, brain natin to, 1.375. Okay, 1.375. So, if 1.375, inad natin kay 66.5 plus 66.5, our quartile is 67.86. 67.86. Yeah. So, 67.86 yung ating quartile 1. Question. Is 67.86 is in the range or in the boundary of 66.5 to 69.5? Andun ba? Nandito, pasok ba siya dito? Sa boundary na to? Okay. Therefore, dahil pasok siya doon, tama at andoon yung quartile. Ito yung value ng ating quartile 1. So, our quartile 1 is 67.86. Yan, doon na tayo ngayong quartile 1. Okay? Next, let us find out yung our decile 3, decile 9, and so on hanggang percentile 70. Hanapin natin sila. Okay? Palitan na lang natin to. So, yan. So, again, same formula lang yan. Kaso, pag sinabi nating decile, nagbabago yung kanyang divisor dito. Yan, decile 3. So, in our decile 3, again, ang unang hahanapin ay yung value nung inyong Kn, which is 3 times 50 all over 10. So, we have 150. Divide it by 10. 150 divide by 10. 150 divide by 10. You have 15. Okay. We have 15. So, ibig sabihin, ang hanapin natin ay yung pang 15. Saan ba yung positioning ng pang 15 score? Andun din ba siya sa una nating sinolve? Okay. Same lang sila kasi nga 8 to 19 yung sakop nito. So, therefore, we have a lower boundary dahil same lang sila, 66.5 plus Ito 15 minus, again, ito pong kn over 10 ay ito na. Okay? 15 minus cumulative frequency preceding sa kanya is ito again, kasi 19 sakop, yung 7 ulit. Ayan. All over frequency niya na 12 times class interval of 3. So we have 66.5 plus, okay, we have 8 divide 12 times 3. The answer is 2. Therefore, our decile 3 is 68.5. Okay, decile 3. Ito po ang ating decile 3. Ayan, 68.5. So, decile 3 is 68.5. And again, dapat pasok siya sa scope or boundary ng mismong class na pinagkuhanan. Okay, ito din yung ating decile 3 class. So, ngayon hanapin natin yung ating decile 9. Okay, we have decile 3, 68.5. Ngayon, same formula. Baguhin na lang natin to. Try natin to mga to. Ayan. So, since decile 9 yung hinahanap natin, okay, decile 9, baguhin lang natin to. We have 9. 9 times 50 all over 10. So, 450. Divide it by 10. The answer is 45. By 45. So, ayan. Ang hanapin natin is yung pang 45th score. Okay. Kung ito ay hanggang pang 19th score na, therefore, sa kanya ay yung 20. Pang 20 up to 34. Ayan. Yan yung mga score na sakop na itong class na to. So, since kulang pa, susunod dito ay yung 35th score up to 42 or 42nd. Next, kulang pa din. Ang kailangan natin yung pang 45th. So, we have 43rd, ayan, to pang 47 score or yung distribution. Kuha na. So, ang inuha lang natin yung is pang 45. Therefore, under dito yung pang 45. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung tinatawag natin na decile 9 plus or decile class. Ito. So, since we can identify now kung alin yung kanyang mga lower boundary, which is ito na. Kung ito yung decile class, definitely 75.5 yung kanyang lower boundary. Okay, 75.5. Next is, kailangan natin ma-identify yung kn over 10, which is na-compute na natin kanina, 45, minus cumulative frequency preceding or bago sa kanya. Alin ba yung bago sa kanya or sinundan nito? Diba ito? Ay, ito, 42. Therefore, 42 all over yung frequency ng class na to, decile class, you have 5. And class boundary, 3 pa din. Therefore, 75.5 plus, kulang dito ng plus, okay, 3 divide by 5 times 3, okay, you get an answer of 1.8. So, therefore, our decile 9 is equals to 77.3. Okay, 77.3. So, this is our decile 9. So, palaging unang kukunin ay kung asaan yung position ng score, kung asan ba siya doon sa distribution. Next, so, meron na tayong decile 9 equals to 77.3. Ayan. Ganyan siya. And next, let us find out yung ating percentile 10 and then yung percentile 70. Okay? Percentile 10. Okay, yan. So, eto na lang ulit papalitan ko ng 100. Kasi same lang sila ng formula. Nagkakapalit-palit lang kung saan sila i-divide. So, 10. Bura ulit tayo, bura. So, our percentile 10. Hanapin natin siya ngayon. So, if we compute it, so 10 times 50, you would get an answer of 500. Divide by 100, the answer is 5. Therefore, our K over N is yung pang 5th score. Okay, pang 5th. So, alin ba siya dito? First and second. Therefore, andito siya sa 37, which is yung 64 to 66 class. Ay, yung class ng 64 to 66. So, you can identify the lower boundary, which is 63.5 plus yung kanyang Kn over 100, which is 5, minus cumulative frequency preceding to it, which is yung nasa taas niya or bago sa kanya na 2. Okay, 2. All over, ano ba yung frequency niya? Nung class ng 64 to 66, you get 5 times 3. Okay? So, 3, 1.8 again. So, 63.5 plus, let's minus, 5 minus 2 is 3, divide it by 5, times 3, you would get an answer of 1.8. 1.8. Therefore, your percentile 10 is equals to 65.3. So, 65.3. Ito yung ating percentile 10. Nagkaiba lang siya in a formula of lower boundary plus K times N all over 100 minus cumulative frequency preceding to your percentile class all over the frequency of the percentile class. Okay? So, ayan, frequency. So, next, we have 65.10. Next is yung ating percentile 70. Dapat makompute natin si percentile 70. Ayan, 70. Pwede natin yung percentile 70 natin. So, percentile 70 is equals to 70 times 50 is 35, I think. 70 times 50. Yes, it's 35. Divide it by 100. 35. Ayan. We get an answer of 35. So, alin ba yung pang 35? Hanapin natin na first and second. 3 to 7, 8 to 19. 20 to 34, 35, right? 35 to 42. Therefore, andito yung ating, etong class na to. Etong class na 73 to 75, andyan yung ating percentile, 70. Therefore, substitute the value, we can get the lower boundary of the class, which is 72.5. 72.5 plus yung ating Kn over 100, which is 35, minus yung cumulative frequency preceding to it. Therefore, kung ito siya, ito yung class na yon, ang ating cumulative frequency preceding to it is etong si 34. So, we have 34 all over ng ating frequency dyan na 8 times the class interval of 3. Okay, we have now 72.5 plus, okay, 35 minus 34 is 1, divide it by 8 times 3. Therefore, 0.375 or it is equals to plus 72.5 72.875 or 88. So, it's equal to 72.88. Ito yung ating percentile 70. So, ito yung pagkuha sa group data. So, first thing na kailangang mahanap, since wala na tayong ina-array dito, hindi natin, alamin mo yung positioning of scores. Kagaya nito, first, second, third to 7, 8 to 19, 20 to 34, 35 to 42, 43 to 47, and then 48 to 50. Ayan, 48 to 50. Andyan yung score or position ng score. Now, after you find your KNO over 4, 10, or 100, kahit ano dun sa tatlo, since same lang sila, you can now find yung position na yon na tinatawag natin. And proceed, you can now identify your lower boundaries. Tingin ka palagi dito, itong mga lower boundary. And your class interval is depends on this part. Kung ilan ba yung scope. For example, 61 to 63, tatlo lang. Pero kapag naging 61 to 65 yan, 5 na kasi 5 na yung scope. So, ganun lang yung ating group data. So, ayan. I hope you learned and thank you so much. Thank you and God bless everyone. I hope that you learned something from my video discussion, and if you have suggestions of the topics that you find hard or difficult in mathematics, i-comment nyo na lang po para magawa ko ng tutorial video. But for now, thank you so much. Sana natuto kayo. God bless everyone.